It turns out that Akio Toyoda was right. Autoblog. Once lambasted, Toyota's chairman's viewpoint on EVs proved correct. Below are your comments. Toyota's vehicles are like Glock pistols. They may not be the prettiest, but they keep on working and working with very little except regular maintenance. I own an EV. The only problem I have is that in cold weather the useful electric charge drops off to about 50% of which it is in warm month. I am always charging it and am justifiably insecure in driving it longer distances in the winter. I was considering an EV until I took a road trip in one. Having to charge after only a couple hundred miles was the deal breaker. The range claimed is nowhere near what you get in real life. With the AC and headlight on, the range is cut way back. I bought a RAV4 hybrid and go an easy 500 miles on one tank, averaging over 40 mpg. Toyota also pushed hydrogen cars, Mirai, with a big investment there. Consumers aren't happy with progress there, either. Bob Lutz, the former big wig at GM and known as the father of the Chevy Volt, is also laughing hard. We have 3 Chevy Volts and they are driven every day. I burned 10 gallons of gas in the last 6,000 miles because I charge at home with my off-grid solar B. I can drive across the country as it can be used with gas only. Greater than to them, EVs were a bullet train, and Toyota was standing on the platform waiting for the next to arrive. This them is your salesperson, media, and execs who think customers are sheep. They think they are Steve Jobs who reveal iPhone. When these EVs hit the market, they realize people do not want expensive cars with more software bugs, much higher repair cost, and less reliability. Poor performance in the cold, range anxiety in remote part of country, etc. Cars cost double what they did just a little more than 5 years ago. And this cost increase is almost totally due to the demand for environmental consciousness. Want to blame anyone for the high cost of cars today? CARB and the EPA are responsible for most of it, with very little real impact to the environment. We had been holding off replacing my wife's car until she retired in a few years. Due to unforeseen circumstances, we had to replace it a couple of months ago. Had we been able to wait, EVs would have been on our list as a potential replacement vehicle. Instead, we went with the hybrid due to lack of charging infrastructure and the current long recharge times. I think EVs are the way of the future, but there are problems, though not insurmountable, that need to be resolved before they can fully replace vehicles that utilize internal combustion engines. My 2020 Ram 1505.7 Hemi with e-torque had been off the road since early December 2024 because Ram cannot supply the truck's 48-volt generator, which has the main bearing going out. They said I could drive it around town, but no longer trips. Ram needs to get their supply system in order before coming out with new vehicles, which might also need parts early in their life. Never owned a hybrid till last month and bought a new Camry hybrid. The car has excellent pickup, saw. Fetty features galore, stylish, get a VG. 44 miles gallon. I got the AWD, otherwise I would have even better mileage. Nobody makes cars like Toyota. This article completely ignores China. Toyota has lost a large number of sales in China because they are greatly purchasing EVs. Toyota is now trying to catch up with BYD so it does not lose more sales. Plus, BYD is now exporting and setting up manufacturing facilities in a number of countries. Toyota looks to lose more sales in these countries if it does not catch up. That Buick has one of the ugliest front ends that I've ever seen. All these automakers are glossing over a very significant point in that only those with wealth will be able to afford any purchase, much less an automobile. That leaves around 300 million in the unaffordable range. Interest rates would have to fall to zero for common folk to afford such a purchase, and even then it might be out of their range. Would enjoy having an EV for local errands and trips, but can't justify it economically. The typical mid-sized EV, Kia EV6, Ford Mach, Tesla Y, gets roughly 3 miles per kilowatt-hour, not counting the 10 to 15% lost in charging the battery in the first place. My off-peak cost per kilowatt-hour is 50 cents and 60 cents between 4 and 9 p.m. At 50 cents per kilowatt-hour, that means my energy cost per mile is about 18 cents per mile, allowing for energy loss during charging. If I want a fancy version with larger wheels, that cost increases 15% for each inch in wheel diameter increase, since EVs are highly sensitive to wheel cost per mile. For gas is about 10 cents for the nice hybrids, meaning the Kia EV6 is 80% more expensive per mile. Also $500 per year cheaper to insure, which covers a lot of oil changes and regular maintenance. EVs eat up tires as well. Unless you have solar to charge your EV, or get free electricity from your employer, it makes no sense. Battery technology is going to really evolve over the next few years with faster charge times and lower costs. These improvements, along with more charging infrastructure, will be the breakthroughs that propels BEVs to become mainstream. Consumers that are frugal do not want to buy today's BEVs. Prices are too high, and then the resale value will be near zero as today's battery technology becomes outdated. In addition, some manufacturers like Fisker aren't going to survive. Many consumers will be patient and wait for the dust to settle. My daily driver is an 05 Sequoia with 325 km. I travel for work and stopped renting EVs after poor experiences. The ride and feel, regardless of which brand, felt like I was test driving Civic or Corolla or 3S IEs. Not to mention the hassle and price to recharge it before returning it to the airport. By no means do I consider my Sequoia plush, but it is certainly a better ride than the cheap feeling EVs. When Trump ends the ridiculous tax credit for electric vehicles, a credit used by the very rich, EV sales will plummet. Good sell job but wrong. EVs are just too limited for anything but a weekly grok getter. They're not good for the environment, just like ICE vehicles aren't. Both require mining and plastics. Ironically, plastics that make all vehicles lighter are made from petroleum. Then there's roads, primarily asphalt, yet another petroleum product. The solution is less users, therefore less vehicles. Start minding the Earth's population. That fixes almost all our problems. Food and water for two and housing and heat to heat those homes. Start thinking, people. Most intelligent people see the EV for the environmental disaster that it is, and want nothing to do with them. Beside not enough EV charging stations, charging cost could sometimes go as high as pumping gas on our regular cars. Toyota is correct if the USA is the only car market. Funny, 1 year does not a trend make. Akio Toyoda was not right. The EV transition is an exponential curve, not linear. The problem is that OEMs can't afford to make the switch because it is not profitable for them and cannibalize their own profitable ICE business. That makes hybrids seem like the right course of action, but hybrids are still ICE. EVs make the most sense economically for the consumer. Economics always wins. The only bottleneck to EV adoption at this point is production capacity. The companies willing to go all in on EVs just need to ramp up production and get to scale. Scale and profitability are the two keys to success. Any company that fails to produce compelling EVs at scale and at a profit will be lucky to be in business within a decade. The Honda-Nissan merger is a telltale sign. Nissan should be leading this charge by now. They blew it. Everyone should be driving a cheap Toyota Corolla EV by now too. Toyota was not right. It only seems that way for this brief moment in time. And when the lithium battery is damaged or exhausted, your vehicle will be worthless. $20 to $25K to replace the battery in a vehicle out of warranty after 8 to 10 years of ownership. We had a few new Ram Chargers in our younger years and loved them. Would consider a new Ram Charger if similar to the old ones, but will never buy EV of any kind. Hybrids are for people who wants to have more issues with the car. 2 engines to go wrong with more technology to go wrong. EVs have less moving parts and as time comes, will be easier to repair. Tesla over a decade ago showed battery swaps in under 2 minutes. This is in China today. As soon as we ditch the fossil fuel oligarchs, we can move towards a fun future. EVs should come with warning stickers for the pollution their manufacturing creates in their electricity dumps into the air at the power plant. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.